So now we're going to talk about it's prohibited to drink from gold or silver vessels. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So part of the etiquette is that it's totally prohibited to drink in gold or silver utensils and vessels, and that is found in many 5-star hotels. It's totally prohibited to eat with your left hand. The Prophet ﷺ prohibited us and said that eating and drinking with the left hand is a treat of shaitan that Muslims must avoid. All of this happened before Dhuhr. When the Prophet wanted to gather the Muslims, the gathering point or the meeting point was the masjid. So whenever there was something of importance, he would send Bilal or anyone to call the Salatul Jama'ah. So the prayer gathers people. So he would either speak about something to advise them, to send them on an expedition, or to send an army to a place, or a revelation that came to announce it. So he would go and utilize this time, place. If it was before Dhuhr prayer, he would go back home and take his nap, siesta. This gives us like 10 to half an hour a boost and energizes you to go on for the rest of the day for the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ was awake since the middle of the night. He took a small nap before Fajr. From Fajr to Dhuhr, it's like 6 or 7 hours. There's 15-minute breaks. Breaks fatigue, and it increases your concentration once you've had your nap. The Prophet ﷺ said, take your mid of the day nap because the devils don't, so it's part of the sunnah. So if it is time for Dhuhr, the Prophet ﷺ hears the adhan in his house. He repeats after the muaddin. He reads his 4 rakat sunnah before the actual fard prayer, and you read this 2 by 2 in accordance to the sunnah. Though some people may say that it's just 4 rakats, and there is that opinion as well, but 2 by 2 is the most authentic opinion, to read them in twos, which for any voluntary prayers. And then the remaining time for the iqamah, he would utilize it. He would use this time to speak to his wives and to joke with her, or to tend to his grandchildren and played with them. This was the norm. When Bilal notified him of prayer, he used to go to the masjid directly. Sometimes the companions would find him come to the masjid with one of his grandchildren. That was always the case. One of the hadiths of Umama bint Ibn As, his granddaughter from Zainab, he is carrying Umama. Whenever he went for ruku and sujood, placed her on the ground. When he stood up, he picked her up. So then, the Prophet ﷺ, Salat al-Dhuhr was the second longest prayer of the day. The companions say the iqamah used to be given, and one of us going to the Baqiyah, which is the graveyard area, which is in the outskirts of Medina, to answer the call of nature. After finishing, they would come back, and then they would start the prayer. So after finishing the Dhuhr prayer, if there was anything important, the Prophet ﷺ would give the khutbah, a reminder, a dars. Once the Prophet ﷺ prayed Dhuhr and saw a man from the tribe of Mundar, but they were poor and their clothes were torn off. So the Prophet's face changed, and he went to the pulpit after, and he praised Allah, and he sent salutations upon the Prophet ﷺ, and then he said, spend from your money, make a visor between you and hellfire. Someone spends from his dates, spend from your mut, reminding them, and the Prophet gave them a reminder, but they all remained seated and did not act upon the reminder until one of the companions stood and rushed to his home and came with a huge sack and bag. He was barely able to carry it, and he went in front of the Prophet and he dropped it. The moment the companions saw this, they all stood and went, and they brought whatever they can from their homes in front of the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet's face shined, and he said, whoever opens the doors for a good deed and the people will follow him, he will get the reward of all those who follow him on the day of judgment, without anything being extracted and reduced from their good deeds. In one incident, the Prophet ﷺ used to send his representatives across Arabia to collect the zakat. So zakat is divided into 2 types. There's hidden and there's visible. Hidden is your own savings, cash, gold, and silver. These are hidden. You're actually responsible for giving it. The visible zakat is the one that's visible, the one that you can see. You can see crops, livestock, stocks, for example, or businesses that the Muslim rulers can see, and he is obliged to collect the zakat for the Muslim treasury. The Prophet used to send his representatives to the different parts of Arabia, from farm to farm, from livestock breeder to another, and collect it and then bring it back to Medina. One of them was known as Ibn al-Lutbiya. He came back one day and he said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "This is your zakat that I've collected, and this was given to me as a gift." So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed Dhuhr, and after the Dhuhr prayer, he started to give a reminder. He says, "How come I employ representatives to go and collect zakat? They come." He did not mention the name, and this is one of the ways of advising people discreetly. This is a public issue, but they did not know who this was intended for. So we said, why do I send people to collect the zakat, and they come to me and say, "This is yours," meaning zakat, and this was given to me? Would they sit in their mother's and father's house and see how many people will give them gifts? As a public figure or as a public servant, if you did not have this job, would anyone give you a gift? If you were not a medical doctor, pharmaceutical companies, would they ever give you a ticket to Dubai to attend a 3-day conference, a first class ticket? I'm just giving a general example. They gave you all of this as a bribe. If you didn't have the position, you will not receive the gift. Those who bribe are cursed by Allah. The Prophet ﷺ said, "May Allah curse the one who gives bribe, and may Allah curse the one who receives the bribe." The Muslim world is notorious and famous for bribes, unfortunately, and this is where I'm going to conclude my video. I leave you here. Fi amanillah wa sallallahu wa baraka ala nabina Muhammad. Astaghfirullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.